Let's get it on then, shall we? Mwah. Welcome to Sex on the Peach, your weekly hump day dose of everyone's favourite untalked about topic, sex. Let's get honest, let's get open, let's get comfortable, and let's get into this week's show. Friends, lovers, listeners, welcome to this season's first Sunday morning spoon. We are finally out of the hellscape that is January, and it's time to let go of all the pressure that came with that hideous fucking month and start preparing for brighter mornings and evenings, because God knows we fucking need it. No time for a man to ruin my life right now when my heating bill is doing that for me. Anyway, let's get into questions that were sent over for last week's body confidence episode. So, grab a coffee, settle in, and get ready to spend the rest of the year feeling like the gorgeous, sexy being that you are. So, let's get into it. Sunday Spooning, Body Confidence Edition. Question number 1. I am 27 and I've been dating my boyfriend for years now, and I absolutely love him. But every time we get intimate, I find myself obsessing over my body, specifically my stomach. I've always had a little bit of a belly, and after we started dating, I've noticed it's gotten worse. It's like I can't relax during sex because all I'm thinking about is how I look. He's so supportive and always tells me he loves my body, but I can't shake this feeling that he's just saying it to make me feel better. How do I stop feeling so self-conscious about my stomach during sex? Well, first of all, let me reassure you, you are not alone. What you are feeling is unfortunately incredibly common. And I think one of the issues is the relationship we have with our bodies can then also shift in a major way when we start becoming regularly intimate with someone else, because we then start seeing ourselves through the lens of what we think another human is seeing. And I think in general, we view ourselves through the lens of other people anyway, rather than just actually looking at ourselves. But I think that's heightened when you are in a relationship with especially one person, and you know that person is getting a more intimate look at your body than probably anyone else's. So suddenly all of our own vulnerabilities, those little insecurities that have been floating around in our minds, they feel like they are on display, even when we know, well, I fucking hope not anyway, in our hearts that our partner isn't judging us in the same way we judge ourselves. And it sounds like your partner is incredibly supportive, which is of course what we want to hear. And while it's great that he reassures you, the deeper issue does of course lie in the fact that you are not feeling that same love for your body. So let's start there, because you need to start practicing loving your body, even in those moments where you feel it's imperfect. And that's not an overnight switch, but it is a process. So instead of focusing on the parts of your body that you are insecure about aesthetically, bring your attention to the parts of your body that feel good during intimacy. Whether that's the way your partner's hands feel on your skin, like the physical sensations, or the way your body responds during intimacy. If you try and shift that mental energy towards the experience of being with your partner rather than the visual details of your body, it helps you to recognize that your partner is there for you, not some fantasy body that anyone is imagining. Your stomach, your curves, the things that you perceive to be your little imperfections, those are all just part of the real, beautiful you existing in this very moment. And intimacy is so much more about how our bodies feel than how our bodies look, because intimacy is a physical sensation. So we just need to remember that and always bring our focus back to feel rather than look. And also we have to remember that every time we talk about imperfections, I know we've been taught certain things are or aren't, but it's all just perception and opinion. There's no fact. There's no evidence to say what is and what isn't an imperfection. There's no barometer of that other than what we have made up in our heads. Yes, as a result of what's been presented to us in society and media. But, it is still just what we have decided is good or bad or nice or horrible or perfect or imperfect. Whether a stomach is flat or curvy is largely genetic. I mean, no matter what size I am, even when I was stressed ill and dropped down to an extremely low, unhealthy weight, and that was just out of stress. That wasn't, a bad relationship with food. My body sheds weight when I'm stressed. It's just how it reacts. But my stomach personally still wasn't flat. And I was heading down to not much above 6 stone. It was a really bad time of my life. There was also little control I had over it because I was eating and it was making no difference whatsoever. And I got quite worryingly small. And my stomach still wasn't flat because that's just the way my body exists. Our bodies are truly just out here trying to exist and keep us alive. And I hope if you listened to the main episode, you've heard the segment on believing that your partner can like something that you don't, which we apply to literally every single other thing except for our own bodies. And not even just our partners. If someone said, "Oh, I love green eyes," and you were like, "Oh, really? I prefer blue." I don't think that would be an issue. Or even if someone expressed just a preference for hair color, it doesn't feel like it would matter. But if you feel like you would want a flat stomach for yourself, and then someone else says, "Oh, actually, I love a curvier stomach," all of a sudden it's beyond the realm of possibility that someone would prefer that, which is so wild because we don't question anything else with this level of disbelief. So allow your partner to love that part of you that isn't your favorite. Multiple things can be true at once. You cannot like a part of your body, and it's also possible that they can absolutely love it. It's not a competition of someone is right and someone is wrong here. It's just all opinion. And what you really want is for your opinion of your own body to be more positive than you want your partner's opinion of it to be less positive. So let him love it and believe that he does. And especially when it comes to female bodies, our stomachs are the part of our body that protect our reproductive organs. It's why female bodies are more susceptible to curvier stomachs. And that's a gorgeous thing. It's just a female body doing its female body thing. If you find that you are still obsessing over your stomach, obviously, it sounds like you've already mentioned it, but you can talk to him about what's going on in your head. Maybe they don't know the extent of how much it's affecting you intimately. And I know it feels scary to keep having those conversations, but it will only help you, with your intimacy and with your connection with each other to have those honest conversations. And it's going to take some time. It might never be your favorite part of your body. My stomach isn't mine, and that's okay. But every time you choose to focus on the joy and the connection of the moment that you are having with your partner, you are chipping away at that self-criticism. You deserve to enjoy that physical connection without that mental burden. So just keep reminding yourself of that. I've been in a relationship for about a year now, but I feel really self-conscious when we are in bed together. The reason, I constantly feel like I don't look like the girls he follows on Instagram. I know it sounds crazy, but I can't help but feel like I'm not as sexy as the influencers he's constantly liking. I even caught him watching a couple of videos of these women once, and it really hurt me. How do I stop feeling like I'm not good enough? Thank you for being honest about this. And this is a huge conversation that I think people are just absolutely not talking about enough because of the fear of coming across as jealous or controlling, especially because it's just a picture and it's just social media. And I hate this attitude so much because it's not just anything, actually. Social media is literally taking over our lives. And one of my biggest research projects at the moment is the way in which social media is affecting people's relationships and sex lives. And part of it is for this very reason. Gen Z are having less sex than any generation before. I'm digressing for a second, but just stick with me. Are having less sex than any generation before. And that is largely because most communication is over social media, dating apps, and there isn't that sort of in-person connection in the way that there used to be. Social media is really dominating a lot of things, and we're still brushing it off as, it's nothing. It's just a picture on an app, like it means nothing. But I don't think we were ever supposed to have the amount of information that we have about each other. I think we can all agree we all need to be accepting of the fact that we will always think other people are attractive other than our partners. And that doesn't mean we don't love and appreciate our partner above anyone else, but it does mean we are visual beings. We might look at other people and think they are really attractive, but before social media, we didn't really need to know anything more than that. That kind of basic theory. We didn't see it, I don't think we are supposed to relentlessly see things that our partner may or may not be finding attractive. And it's okay to have those conversations, in the same way that people have hypothetical celebrity wish lists. It's okay to say, I find XYZ attractive. I think that's okay anyway. Obviously, everyone has different boundaries in their relationships. I respect that, but I think that's perfectly fine. But I don't know that we need to aggressively be seeing every single thing that our partners find attractive. I don't think it's particularly conducive to higher self-esteem. And I think we all know by now, I'm not someone who brings much sexual jealousy into my partnerships, not these days anyway. I don't mind if my partner engages in sexual activity with other people. Like, that is okay by me if that is what we have laid out in our relationship and that's what we are doing. But the Instagram thing actually bothers me too, because sometimes you see people, they're not even supporting their friends on social media and they're just like supporting strangers. And I'm like, what is that about? Why is this happening? Anyway, I have my whole thing on this, but I basically don't think it's just social media. I don't think it needs to be brushed off. I can completely understand why it's making you feel a certain way. And I really feel for you. I think it's incredibly hard to separate yourself from the images that we see on social media, especially because those images seem to have become a standard that people think they have to live up to. And then when you see your partner interact with that content, it makes you feel inadequate. I get it. It's easy to spiral into feeling like you are not enough. And first of all, I want to say your worth isn't tied to how closely you resemble a curated Instagram influencer. The images we see on social media are often edited, filtered, staged. And even if they aren't all of those things, they still don't represent the full range of beauty, sexual attraction, or intimacy that a real loving relationship is about. It's a 2D version of something that we know zero context about. So if you haven't already, I know it's difficult. I know that these conversations about social media are still super cagey for people. But I would obviously recommend having an honest conversation with your partner. Express your feelings about the social media content he is interacting with and how it makes you feel. Because some people are kind of completely oblivious to their social media activity. They're just kind of frivolously scrolling and liking, and what do they say? Doom scrolling, brain rot, all of those terms that people use nowadays. It's all of those things. Basically, you're just scrolling on and not even really paying attention to what you're liking or not liking. So he might be completely unaware of how it's affecting you, and bringing it to his attention might help him understand where you are coming from. And if it does, and you get a supportive, empathetic response from him, that could go a long way into rebuilding your confidence in your relationship. And there will, of course, always be people on social media who are like, it's really controlling to tell your partner what you can and can't like on social media. And like, I can see that side of things. Like, we don't want to gatekeep our partner's behaviors, but there's definitely so much more nuance to it than that kind of binary way of thinking. I think it's perfectly okay for, as we would in every other area of our relationships, talk about how things make us feel, what our boundaries are in those areas. People aren't doing that when it comes to social media because it's just social media. But again, it's literally dominating our lives. So let's not be fooled into that way of thinking. So I think, have the conversation. Obviously, you will be able to gauge the reaction of how that's going to go. But also, like, I'm always of the opinion that I think my partner, my friends, my family, anyone that means anything to me is always going to be much more important than a like of someone I don't even know on social media. And I think it's not necessarily in the area of going, you can't do this to be with me, because I do agree that kind of controlling behavior is not ideal. But if someone doesn't realize how it's making you feel and you say, it makes me feel like shit, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize, that's a completely different thing. But I don't know how that conversation is going to go for you. I do hope that it is supportive and well received and not defensive. But in the meantime, you can also take control of how you feel for yourself and, focus on reconnecting with your own sense of self-worth. Think about what makes you feel beautiful. And that's not just in terms of appearance, but your energy, your personality, the connection that you share with your boyfriend. Sex is about an intimate, emotional bond between the two of you. It's not about fitting into a mold of something on social media. So when you stop comparing yourself to photos of people that we don't even know and start embracing yourself for all the wonderful things you are, that's when your own confidence will start to shine. And you are so much more than a social media profile or a momentary glimpse on someone's phone screen. You are an amazing, unique person with so much to offer, and the right person, hopefully the one that you are with, will love you for all of those things, much more than they will love a photo on social media. So focus on what makes you feel loved, desired, confident, and just please, everyone, take social media standards with a complete grain of salt. They have nothing to do with your worth or your beauty. I'm generally quite honest on my social media. I'll post things from highlights of my life, and I'm like, trust me, pretty much every other moment that I've posted on here was probably terrible. So, let's keep it real, but have the conversation, and I will keep my fingers crossed that it is well received. Okay, I can't stop comparing my body to my partner's ex. I know it's silly, but I just feel like they were slimmer and more attractive, basically just better looking than me. How do I stop feeling like I don't measure up? I mean, the ex comparison spiral is literally the fastest way to ruin your own mood for no reason. And I feel like our brains just start to gather non-existent evidence that our partners secretly wish we were someone else. But take a step back, and I get it. It's easy to assume that because your partner was once attracted to someone else, they must have preferred that body type. And now you feel like you're somehow coming in second place. But the truth is, your partner isn't with their ex anymore. They're with you, not their ex, not some imaginary ideal person. They are with you. And I would like to think if they wanted to be with someone else, they would be, but they are here choosing you and you are choosing them. And attraction isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. You know, we have such a huge spectrum of what we are attracted to. So just because we were attracted to one thing in one relationship doesn't mean we can't be attracted to something very different in another relationship. People aren't out here ranking bodies like Olympic judges. Well, they shouldn't fucking be anywhere. I'm sure they are, but those people can get in the fucking bin. But let's be honest. Have you ever looked at someone that you're really into and thought, well, I'd probably fancy them more if their hip to waist ratio was slightly different? No, right? I hope not. Attraction is about the whole package. Your energy, your personality, your presence. It's not just a checklist of body traits of you against the ex or you against anyone else. And when you've been attracted to people in the past, did they all look exactly the same? Probably not, because attraction is about so much more than just physical features. It's chemistry, it's connection, it's the way someone makes you feel. You know, you're not mentally lining up every person you've ever dated. Your partner isn't mentally lining up every person they've ever dated. We're not ranking people by abs and thigh gaps. That's something we do to ourselves, not something our partners are doing to us or we're doing to our partners. Again, I hope not anywhere. I kind of always talk from like my position because that's definitely not the way in which I would behave. And I would like to think that decent people are not doing that. But I know it can be really hard to shake the feeling that their ex had something you don't. And maybe as of the last question, that is because you are looking at things on social media. I don't know. But do you actually know this for a fact? Is this just your narrative of the situation? Is it your insecurities filling in the gaps with a worst case scenario? You know, again, I don't think you are looking at your partner, at the person you love and thinking, oh, they're so great. I just really wish their body was slightly more like my ex's. No, of course you're not. Because when we truly care about someone, their body isn't a competition. It's all a part of them. You know, we love them. So we love their body. It's theirs. It's all part of one package of that person that we love. Obviously, if your partner has ever made you feel like you are competing with their ex or made comments that fuel these insecurities, that's a whole different conversation. No one should ever make you feel like you are not enough. In that case, the issue isn't your body, it's their lack of respect and emotional awareness. So I'd say that's a red flag and it's maybe time to have a difficult conversation. And talking of difficult conversations, this is one in a different way. But if this insecurity is weighing on you, then talk to your partner about it. And not in a tell me I'm better than them kind of way, but in a sometimes I struggle with this and I just need some reassurance way. Because a partner who cares, a loving partner, will want to reassure you. If they are worth your time, they will remind you that they are with you because they're crazy about you. And at the end of the day, you just have to keep reminding yourself the ex is in the past. You are the present. And no amount of imagined comparisons can change the fact that your partner is with you for a reason, for loads of reasons, for all of the reasons. So let's just stop giving the ex a starring role in a story that they are no longer part of. I've always been pretty active and comfortable with my body, but I posted a bikini picture on Instagram a few months ago and a friend of mine commented that I looked chubby. Right, good friend. And that I should lose a few pounds. Jesus Christ, if I want to look good. If I want to look good, okay, drop the friend. I haven't finished the question, but that's my first point. It didn't bother me at first, but now I can't stop thinking about it. When I'm in bed with my boyfriend, I worry that he sees me in the same way. I now feel like my body isn't good enough for him anymore. What should I do? Okay, whoa. Drop the fucking friend. End of answer. No, I'm joking. Listen. First of all, I'm really fucking sorry about your friend. Are they a friend? I don't know. I think that's a really horrible way to have a conversation with a friend about their fucking body. Like, are you kidding me? I don't really like to have conversations with my friends about their bodies. We've all got our own journeys with our bodies. And unless I think there is reason to actively worry about someone's health, which, you know, has happened, and I have had to have some uncomfortable conversations, and vice versa, of course, when I was going through the stress and people had to be like, are you okay? You know, I think conversations with anyone, especially in this day and age, about bodies should be handled so fucking delicately because we never know what is going on with someone mentally. So this is an incredibly disrespectful way for your friend to speak to you. And I would be questioning your friendship above anything else, way more than your body, way more than your boyfriend thinking this, way more than anything else. You need to question, is that person really a friend to be saying things like that to you? And where are those comments coming from? You know, I think if you want to continue this friendship, you should be having a conversation with them and saying, I don't like the way you approach that conversation, and try and see if there's a way through, because I'd be likely to start weaning away from that friend. Anyway, I hate that it's impacted you so deeply, because it's incredibly hurtful when someone makes an unsolicited remark about your body, especially when it's coming from a place that sounds like they didn't consider how it would affect you emotionally. And we all have moments where we feel vulnerable or uncertain. You're not alone in that. And a lot of people, especially women, deal with unsolicited comments about their bodies, particularly in the age of social media, because it's not just social media, it's literally dominating our fucking lives. And people now seem to think they have the right to voice their opinions on anything. I would say this comment is a reflection of their own insecurities. You know what I mean? It's very easy for people to just pass judgment without understanding the emotional weight that their words can carry. So what's important is that you take control of the narrative. Remember what you said at the beginning of this question. I've always been pretty active and comfortable with my body, and that is amazing. Remind yourself of that. That is where you were. You know, your body at any shape or size is worthy of love, is worthy of intimacy, is worthy of pleasure, is worthy of appreciation, whatever size your body is at. But as you said, I've always been pretty active and comfortable with my body. You were comfortable with your body. You cannot let one person's comment derail that completely. Because as for your boyfriend, I highly doubt he sees you through the lens of someone who needs to lose weight. I don't think he sees you through the lens of what this friend has all of a sudden decided for your body. Most likely, he thinks you're amazing. He thinks you are attractive physically, emotionally, mentally, for everything you bring to your relationship. So if you want to, by all means, have a conversation with him about that comment and how it has made you feel. Because sometimes, of course, just expressing your worries out loud and hearing reassuring thoughts can work wonders for our confidence. There's no two ways about it. But you don't need to fit into a mold or meet someone else's idea of what you should look like. It's none of their fucking business what you do with your body. You know, I'd say, I'm so often saying curate your social media feed to things that make you feel good, but curate your life to include people who promote positivity for their friends' bodies. You know, just be with people who make you feel good about yourself. Don't surround yourself with people who make you compare yourself to others or make you feel shit about your body when you previously felt good about it. Just break free from all of that nonsense and shift your mindset back to where you were when you felt good and active and comfortable and happy in your body. Your worth and your beauty are not determined by anyone else's opinion of a fucking bikini picture on Instagram. You are beautiful just as you are. Your partner loves you, and you are not a number on a scale or a specific body type. And I'm going to say it again, probably drop the friend. Next question. I've always had issues with my skin. I get a lot of acne and I have scars from it. It's really affecting my confidence in the bedroom, especially when I'm getting close to my partner. I hate feeling like I'm not smooth enough or flawless enough. And I know my partner doesn't care, but I can't stop focusing on my acne. Thank you for opening up about this, because a lot of the focus has been on weight in these questions. And to be honest, I didn't talk loads about weight in the main episode, and that is because in the same way I don't like to talk about experiences that I haven't had, I wouldn't talk about the transgender experience without someone who can speak on that personal lived experience. I wouldn't talk about the experience of being asexual, and I don't have any experience of being plus size. So, I didn't focus so much on weight in the main episode. And I think that's why a lot of questions have come through about that. And I wanted to focus more on things that we really can't control in terms of everybody experiences it, like body hair, cellulite, stretch marks, all of those things we've been taught are bad that we can't get away from because everybody is experiencing them. And one of those things actually is skin problems. And this is the only question I got about this, and I'm glad that it came through, because I think this is actually a huge thing, because we are promoted this idea of flawless skin. And I had a terrible experience with acne as a teen, and it really derailed my confidence. I had acne on my face, on my chest, all over my back, which in ballet classes in open back leotards was absolutely not it. And my best friend at school used to have to put this like acid on it every day. It was really giving bonding. So I know how unconfident bad skin can leave you feeling. And acne and skin issues are something that a lot of people deal with. And it's really tough when that makes you feel less confident, especially during intimate moments where obviously people are up close and personal. And it's so understandable to feel self-conscious when you feel like your skin isn't matching the perfect image we see in the media. But, your skin, your scars, it's all part of your real story. And that has no bearing on your worth or how your partner feels about you. The first thing to remember is that your partner is with you for all of the amazing qualities that make you, you. The physical aspects, like your skin, are one tiny part of a much bigger picture. You are so much more. We are all so much more than just what's on the surface. And I'm sure your partner is nowhere near as fixated on your acne, if at all, as you are. They love you for who you are. And you need to treat your body, including your skin, with the same love and kindness you would treat a friend. Your acne, your scars, they're not something you need to hide or be ashamed of. They are part of a journey you've been on. We all have our own journeys with our skin. And unfortunately, a lot of the reasons we see flawless skin these days is because people are just having fucking surgery all the time. And we might see some quite tragic results of that in decades to come. And that will have been part of their journey, But stand in front of a mirror and tell yourself, I am worthy of love and affection and pleasure and good intimacy, good feeling intimacy. And it might feel awkward at first, but the more you practice that kind of positive self-talk, the more it will, I promise you, start to shift the narrative in your mind. And you may have already had a conversation with your partner about your concerns. Obviously, I know when we have a skin condition, it's visible, it's visual. So these may be conversations that have already happened, but they might not be aware that this is affecting you so deeply. And sometimes a supportive, understanding conversation can take a huge weight off your shoulders. I know there are a lot of treatments for acne, and some of them are more intense than others. I don't know what your journey is with that, but obviously whatever way you are moving forward with your skin, like, I wish you all the best, and I want you to feel confident in yourself no matter what. And I do know that it's tough with acne, and we're just not taught to accept that side of ourselves. And society has been incredibly cruel to people with bad skin for the longest time. But it's time for us to reclaim that narrative and remember that intimacy isn't about flawless skin. It's about shared vulnerability between you and your partner. It's about connection. It's about the way your bodies move together. It's about the way you touch, the way you make each other feel seen, the way you make each other feel love. So when it comes specifically to intimacy, I think the more we can focus on the emotional and physical connection, the things that we perceive to be our aesthetic imperfections, they can fade into the background a bit. But I am sending you so much love, and I hope that helps a little bit. But I've been there with the acne journey, so please always feel free to reach out and I can speak to you more personally about that. But thank you for sending in your question, and I'm sending you lots of love. My partner constantly makes negative... Oh, here we go. My partner constantly makes negative comments about my body. Dump them, whether it's my weight, my stretch marks, or just little digs that make me feel unattractive. They say they are just being honest. No, they're fucking not. And that they only want me to be my best self. Shut the fuck up. But honestly, it's crushing my confidence. Should I stay and try to work through this, or is this a sign that I should leave? Okay, let's cut straight to it. Your body is not a debate topic. It's not a project for improvement. It's not an open forum for your partner's unsolicited critiques. It's yours. Okay? And if someone you are supposed to feel safe with is tearing it down rather than celebrating it, that is a big flashing neon red flag. Sorry, this isn't just being honest. I am honest. Okay? This is not just being honest. I hate when people use just being honest as an excuse to act like a piece of shit and to be rude and to be disrespectful, because that is not honesty. Honesty is telling your partner that they have a seed in their teeth before they leave for work. What your partner is doing, that's criticism wrapped in a flimsy fucking excuse, and it's doing exactly what it is designed to do. Sorry, I feel really angry about this. It's chipping away at your confidence, and it's making you feel like you're not enough. So let's get one thing straight. You are enough. Your body as it exists right now is not a problem to be fixed. I've noticed how I'm speaking, and this is actually like one of the reasons people think I'm kind of aggressive, because even when I'm saying nice things, it's an aggressive delivery. I understand that. So I'm not having a go at you. I'm just really angry at the situation. I just heard how I was voicing this, and I was like, Jesus, you're like screaming down this microphone to this poor person who sent in the question. And I sound like I'm having a real go, and I'm not. I'm so angry that you have a partner who is treating you like this. So any anger that you hear in my voice, it is directed only at them. I just want to clarify that. Your body as it exists right now is not a problem to be fixed. And anyone who makes you feel otherwise is not helping you. They are harming you. A loving partner wants you to feel good, not just look a certain way by their standards. That's what they've decided in their head. Like, there's no barometer for this. They've decided that. So, you could drop a lot of weight by dropping this partner. That's all I'm going to fucking say. But let me try and be a bit more eloquent. Can people change? Sometimes. If they are willing to acknowledge the harm they are causing, take accountability and responsibility, and genuinely work on how they speak to you, there could be room for growth. Yes, of course, I have to believe that, because otherwise we are all fucked. So I have to believe people are capable of change for the better. But it's a big if. It's a big if, my sweetheart. And frankly, you are not a rehabilitation centre for someone's lack of kindness and basic respect. So, here's the real question. Do you see a future where you feel truly accepted, truly loved, and truly safe in this relationship? Because if this person isn't willing to change or even willing to see the harm that they are causing, you are left with two choices. Stay and keep absorbing their negativity until your self-worth is in the fucking gutter. Or walk away, which is what I recommend, and reclaim your confidence, your peace, and your happiness, which is what you fucking deserve. And look, I know leaving isn't always easy. I know that. And I don't know the context of your broad situation in that respect. So I completely understand it's not as simple as that. But if it is an option for you at this time, trust me when I say this, the weight of someone else's cruel words is far heavier than the weight of being alone for a while. There are people out there who will love you and your body for everything you are in this exact moment. You deserve that. You always have. So please tell yourself that and get ready to make a bit of a difficult decision. But I am thinking of you, and please feel free to reach out and discuss further if you need. I'm sending you so much love, and I'm sorry I fucking hate your partner. Next question. I've recently had a baby. I absolutely adore my little one, but ever since I gave birth, I've been feeling disconnected from my body. My belly is flabbier, my boobs are sagging more than I'd like, and I'm just not feeling sexy at the moment. My partner says he thinks I'm beautiful, but I don't feel it. I'm avoiding sex because I feel embarrassed about how I look. How do I get over this? First of all, huge congratulations on your new little one. And thank you for being so honest. And this is something that's hard for me to speak on because I don't have children. But from what I understand from speaking to a lot of my friends who are mothers, what you're feeling is incredibly common. And the reality is postpartum body changes can feel like a total whirlwind. I do have an episode in season 1 with my friend Natasha Barnes who talks about sex after childbirth, and, you know, obviously as well in the episode connected to this Sunday Spoon, talked a lot about the mum bod versus dad bod discourse. So there have been bigger chats on this topic if they are helpful to you. But your body's gone through a massive transformation, and whilst it's incredible what it's accomplished, like, I hold my hands up, huge respect to mothers, I completely understand that it's natural to feel disconnected from it because your body just did something amazing. It created and nurtured a new life. And I can only imagine that that's kind of a mindfuck in its own. Like, what do you mean a person is happening? What do you mean a person is happening inside my body? I don't understand. I still don't understand it. Me, mid-30s, don't understand reproduction. Your stomach, your boobs, the changes you are seeing, they're not flaws. They are signs of strength, of resilience, of love. Like, imagine we're women and we literally create life. What do you mean? You've gone through one of the most physically demanding experiences a body can go through, and that deserves to be appreciated, not scrutinized. Like, what in the fuckery is our media being awful to women who've had children? No, I can't. Okay, so please remind yourself your body is constantly evolving. You know, whether you're having children or not, we're all going to see changes in our body as we age, if nothing else. And the changes you're experiencing now might feel unfamiliar, but that doesn't mean you are less than or that your partner sees you any differently. In fact, he's probably seeing you with more love and admiration than before because you're still the wonderful package that you were before you had a child. But now you've both got whole new identities. You know, you add that to your identity facets. You're now a wonderful mother and a wonderful partner. And it doesn't have to be either or. You're just now both of those things. You're now multiple things. So there's even more love and admiration to be had there. I would say if you are on social media, there are so many wonderful accounts of mothers who show the real side of bodies post-motherhood. Like, I love Ashley Louise James. She's a voice for women anyway, but she always shows the real sides of bodies. You know, it's not always curated and edited. So I think, you know, look for other accounts that show the reality of the way our bodies can change after motherhood. Obviously, everyone's experience is going to be slightly different, of course, but I think if you use social media, there are specifically lots of wonderful accounts, even just to make you feel less alone and be like, yeah, fuck, thanks. Like, there are other people dealing with the same things that I am right now. And when it comes to intimacy specifically, as I've said before to, you know, in the main episode and to some other questions, we all just need to start focusing on what feels good rather than what we think looks good, what we perceive as our flaws. So try shifting your mindset back to how you feel with your partner. And I'm sure even that is going to feel different after having a baby. You know, that physical connection, the sensation of touch, the, physical affection. That's what it's about, not the size and shape of your body. But I am sure all of that stuff is going to be its own discovery. But maybe that's something that can be fun between the two of you, because you might find that parts of your body feel different now. And that's its kind of own little adventure that, if you go on it together, can be really wonderful. So I think let your partner know where you're at and use it as a way to discover each other's bodies now that you're parents. Maybe that's going to feel different, and maybe that's a really nice thing to explore. You know, remind yourself that intimacy and sex, they're not picture perfect. They're never picture perfect, no matter when, no matter when or what. No one's supposed to be conforming to any standard body type. You deserve to feel pleasure and joy in your body. And that might take time, but by slowly embracing that beauty of your postpartum body, you will see how much there is to love. And of course, it's okay to have days where you feel less than confident. But the important thing is to be patient with yourself as you navigate this very brand new chapter. Like, you've got a hell of a lot going on. But just know that you are worthy of all the love and intimacy your partner wants to share with you. And just take this as an opportunity to go on this journey together. Sometimes I avoid intimacy altogether because I don't want my partner to see me naked. How do I move past this fear? Listen, this is really common. You are not alone in feeling this way. So many people, regardless of shape, regardless of size, feel this. They experience this exact same fear. The pressure to look a certain way during intimacy can be really fucking overwhelming. Again, I say it constantly, but especially when we've been fed such unrealistic beauty standards our whole lives. And I've said it a million times already. I'm going to say it again. Intimacy is not about looking perfect. It's about feeling connected. And if avoiding intimacy has become your way of protecting yourself from judgment, it's going to be the same advice I've given every other question. You need to try shifting the focus away from how your body looks to how it feels. Close your eyes just for a minute. Close your eyes and tune into only sensations. Whether that's touch, whether it's breathing, whether it's just feeling someone else that close to you. So you're actually taking the way you look out of it completely. Close your eyes and focus only on how something feels, because physical intimacy is not a performance. So it's not about us having to look any certain way about it. But I will say, as I've discussed on the main episode, I'm not the most naked person. And that's just because I like wearing things. So you don't have to be naked, and if wearing things makes you feel more comfortable, then do it. Spend time wearing things that make you feel good, whether it's lingerie, whether it's a slip, whether it's an oversized t-shirt, whatever makes you feel good. Just start seeing yourself in a kinder light and allowing yourself to do the things that make you feel better about yourself. You know, as I've said, I wear things in bed because it makes me feel sexier, and that's not because I don't want to be naked. It's because I just like it. Like, I don't know that that's a kink. Maybe that I should look into that, but I don't think it is. But I just prefer it. I think it's sexier. So if the pressure of being naked is what's making you avoid intimacy, don't do it. Wear something that makes you feel good. You know, stand in front of a mirror, try different stuff on, and start appreciating what you feel looks good and what makes you feel sexy. You know, just find one thing today that you can put on that you think, I could wear this during intimacy and it would make me feel fucking bomb. Just find one thing and then build from there. And, you know, obviously talk to your partner if you haven't already. I'd like to think they care about you, so they will want to support you and not judge you. And I know vulnerability is scary, but just saying something like, I feel really self-conscious sometimes and it makes it hard for me to relax. Just something that simple can open the door for reassurance and understanding, because intimacy should feel safe. It shouldn't feel stressful. And your partner is choosing to be with you. They want you, not some filtered, retouched version of a body that doesn't exist in real life. So that's my thought for you today. Go and put something on and just be like, do you know what? If I had sex in this, I'd feel really fucking hot. I'd feel really fucking sexy. And then wear it. And then find more and go from there. I'm really struggling with something that's kind of embarrassing to talk about. I've always had a small penis, and when I first got into my relationship, I was really self-conscious about it. I've never been in a serious relationship before, so I didn't know if my partner would be okay with it. He's always super loving and supportive, and he's told me more than once that it's not about size, but I just feel like I'm not enough. I've been avoiding sex because I feel like I'm failing him. This is awful. What can I do to feel better about this? I've gone into depth about penis size on some previous episodes. In fact, the episodes, the offside rule of sex, which was specifically for penis owners, has a huge deep dive into this. So that might be helpful for you. But in case you haven't listened to that episode, I understand that the pressure around penis size is a massive issue in society. And it is one that many men, including a lot of listeners to this podcast, because I got sent so many questions about it when I did the episode for penis owners, struggle with silently, because it's then compounded by unrealistic portrayals in porn. Then there's locker room talk. There's an exaggerated sense of what's normal or desirable, but the size of your penis has absolutely nothing to do with your ability to be a loving, attentive, satisfying partner. So what your boyfriend is telling you, that it's not about size, that isn't just lip service. And I do obviously understand, in the grand scheme of everyone that is living, yes, in some situations, people's bodies may be accommodating in different ways, and sometimes size can play into things, but more often than not, it's not the case. Sexual satisfaction is about so much more than the physical dimensions of one part of your body. You know, intimacy stretches so much further than that. And it's all about how much you enjoy your sexual experiences together as a team. And in terms of how you're feeling, avoidance is a very common reaction when we feel insecure. So I get that. But in the long run, it just feeds into the anxiety more. So I would suggest pushing yourself to have more open conversations with your boyfriend about these concerns, because as per usual, if we don't talk about it, even though our partners might know we have parts of ourselves that we might feel a bit meh about, they often don't fully understand the weight of our insecurities. You know, sometimes I've mentioned things about my past that sometimes play into things to partners, and they don't understand the extent of it until we're confronted with it in one way or another. But if you are vulnerable and you express your feelings about this, it only allows the space for him to support you more. Whereas if the conversation doesn't happen, that space isn't there because he doesn't know. And then when that space is open and your partner can tell you and show you that they love you for who you are, and it's not about the size of your penis, that is going to help you shed some of that self-doubt. And there is also so many ways to enjoy intimacy together that don't put so much emphasis on penetration, on penis size, on performance. You know, there's so much mutual pleasure, touching, kissing, oral sex. There's so many ways you can try out new things together to discover what makes both of you feel good. And that might help you to see your body in a new and non-judgmental light. And it also gives you loads of things to play with, because if we just do the same thing day after day, for most people, that doesn't work. That's not interesting. So if you're constantly, you know, looking at new ways to discover intimacy, that's really fun. And there are ways that maybe don't put as much pressure on how you feel about the size of your penis. But you need to know that whilst I obviously don't know the size of your penis, I don't know your body, the average penis size is way smaller than anyone ever seems to think or know. So just remember that. And your boyfriend clearly sees and embraces all of you, you know, the parts that you already love and the parts that you are learning to love, I hope. So you are more than enough exactly as you are. There is nothing to hold you back from being a wonderful, satisfying, fulfilling lover. So I know that this is a huge, huge ongoing thing for penis owners. And I do think it's a really shit thing about society. And it's still like a jab that is used against people. And I think it's disgusting. But just try and remind yourself you're more than enough. You have a partner who loves and supports you, and it's just not about that at the end of the day, I promise. But do a dive into the other episodes where I've gone into this in more detail, because I think it might help. I've been dealing with body image issues for as long as I can remember. I've always been self-conscious about my weight, and it's gotten worse recently. I've been putting on some pounds since I got into a relationship, and I'm finding it hard to feel confident with my girlfriend in bed. I know she loves me and tells me all the time I'm handsome, but I just don't feel attractive anymore. It's like my body isn't mine anymore. How do I get past this? Okay, I think it's fairly common for people to gain a little weight, right? When they get into the happy place, the honeymoon period of a new relationship. I think that happens. And it sounds like you love your girlfriend and she clearly loves you, and that's gorgeous. But I totally get that your own self-perception can cause a huge mental block. And for most of us, when we have those aesthetic mental blocks, they play out the most during intimacy because it's vulnerable. And the thing with body image, especially when it is about weight, it often feels like it's all anyone sees. But in reality, when we look at people, the people we love, the people we care about, whether that is a partner or it's friends or it's family, you know, we look at people and we see so much more than their physical appearance. And so that's not to say that your weight is even a problem, but that isn't what your partner is looking at when she looks at you. You know, there's so much more that goes into our connections with each other. And I think, you know, even when I look at my best friends, that's what I see. I don't see their body. I mean, my friends have seen me look like fucking dog shit. Like when I tell you, like no one sees me looking worse actually than the people in the park that I take my dogs for a walk in. But I just think about all the states my best friends have seen me in over the years. And when they've seen me not looking my best, I don't think they look at me and go, God, she's really less than today. I don't feel so keen on being her friend today, actually. And, you know, not just friends. When I've been in long-term relationships, my partners have seen me within that period of time look at my best and my worst. And I'd like to think anyway, I mean, maybe some of them can tell me that when I've been, I don't know, even hungover to shit or just going through like a period of like feeling really low and just like not my best at all, I like to think they don't look at me and think, oh, she's really much less desirable as a partner today, So when we go through, and our bodies change, like I've gone through, weight fluctuations over the years. And I don't think that when I've been like at the sort of the higher end of my weight range, my partners have been like, well, oh God, now I look at her and that's all I can see, because I've still been the same person. So your partner will be feeling the same. She's with you because of your connection together, everything you are, the way you make her feel loved, the way you make her feel seen. Do you look at her and just see her weight? And we need to think about all of these things. But of course, the most important work starts with how you see yourself. So you've got to address all these thoughts head on. And that's difficult because we just want to run away from this shit. But if you find yourself avoiding intimacy because of any weight gain, ask yourself, what is really bothering me? Is it the weight gain, or is it the idea that I'm no longer the version of myself I used to be? Because our bodies change over time. They're not static. They're evolving in the same way our minds are, in the same way our lives are. So you can acknowledge that, yes, your body might look slightly different, but it doesn't mean it's any less worthy of love or any less worthy of desire. And it sounds like you have spoken to your girlfriend about that, which is great, because vulnerability in a relationship is actually a huge relief. Talking about our insecurities and hearing our partner's perspectives, and sometimes just like having a moment to connect and, laugh about things together. Sometimes that can be really helpful, because these conversations can get really serious. And if we can have a moment to bring some light into this, it can sometimes help to reframe the way we view all of it. We all know intimacy thrives on open communication. But if you want, you can explore what makes you feel good about your body right now. Are there things you want to change? Are there activities you want to partake in? Do you have any fitness goals or anything else that makes you feel like you're investing in you rather than feeling like you are falling behind? Because it's always our own journeys, isn't it? And we have control over them. But if you feel like you're actively just taking care of yourself in whatever way that is, that doesn't necessarily mean you got to go and become a fucking gym bro. In fact, please don't. But even if it's just getting out into the air and going for a really nice walk every day, sometimes doing that. Sometimes if I'm sat at my computer writing a fucking piece of academic work, which is my whole life at the moment, I'm like, oh, I hate everything. And then I take my dogs out for like a 45-minute walk and get some fresh air, and I'm like, everything feels better. So just start thinking about the things that you can do for yourself that make you feel good, and then start doing them. And that doesn't mean you have to lose weight. It doesn't really have to be anything to do with your body. I think it's just when we invest in things that make us feel good, then we feel good. I didn't word that very well, but I think you get what I mean. But just don't let the idea of getting back to what I was rob you of the beauty and the worth of who you are right now, because we are always enough in exactly the moment we are currently in. I hope that helps. What if my partner, this is the last question, by the way, I think. Yeah, last question for today. What if my partner in the past made nasty comments about my body or weight? How do I trust that my new partner actually means it when they say they love my body? Hopefully this is helpful to that other person who sent in the question, who is currently with someone who is saying nasty comments about their body, because trust me, there is going to come a time when you are also going to have this concern. And I hope that this will play into this, because first of all, I'm really fucking sorry that that happened to you. No one should have to carry the weight of someone else's cruelty, especially when it comes from a partner. That is not why we are supposed to be in fucking relationships. And when someone you trust makes those kinds of hurtful comments about your body, of course, it's going to leave deep, deep fucking scars. It's going to shape the way we see ourselves long after they're gone, although I'm glad they're gone. And even if you know, which I hope you do, logically and rationally that their words were very unfair and very unkind, I understand, they will still linger in the back of your mind. And that makes it really hard to accept love and appreciation from someone new. And the first thing to understand is that those comments were not a reflection of you or your worth. They were a reflection of them. People who criticize their partner's bodies, their friends' bodies, their colleagues' bodies, often do so out of their own insecurities or because they have an extremely warped idea of what bodies are supposed to look like thanks to societal conditioning. But, does their body look like what they think bodies are supposed to look like? Are they holding themselves to those same standards? Not that we should be holding anyone to any standards, but if someone's, I think you get what I'm trying to say. Whatever their reason, anyway, it's irrelevant. It doesn't mean their words were true. It doesn't mean anyone else sees you in that same way. So when a new partner tells you they love something about your body, especially a part you've been made to feel insecure about, it is completely normal to feel skeptical at first because your brain will probably immediately go, they're just saying that to be nice. But attraction is subjective, and I have gone into this already. We can hate things about ourselves that our partners love, and both things can exist at the same time. Both things can be true. So just because you don't love a certain part of yourself does not mean that someone else can't genuinely adore it. In fact, it happens all the time. You know what I mean? How many times have you loved something about a friend that they've been self-conscious about? Maybe it's their nose, but you're like, what the fuck? Your nose is beautiful. Maybe, some people hate their freckles. I fucking love freckles. I think they're gorgeous. I think they're like so unique. And those things are what make people so fucking gorgeous. And that same principle applies to you. Just because you struggle to see something as attractive doesn't mean any person looking at you feels the same way. So it's probably going to take time to unlearn the damage of that past partner's words. And that's okay, because trust wasn't built in a day, just like Rome. If you are struggling to believe your new partner, look at their actions, because words can be cheap. Words can be really fucking cheap. Do they show you affection without hesitation? Do they look at you with admiration? Do they touch you in a way that feels genuine and appreciative? Because people don't just express attraction verbally unless their only love language is words of affirmation, but most people need more than that. It's all in the way people hold you, the way people kiss you, the way people just pull you close. Words can be questioned, but consistent actions, they tell the real story. But more importantly than that, your opinion of your body matters more than anyone else's. If someone made you feel unworthy in the past, it says everything about them and nothing about you. As I will say to every person who sends me things in to this podcast about body issues, your body is worthy of love exactly as it is, whether or not you fully believe it yet. Every single body out there, race, gender identity, sexual identity, ability, class, age, every identity category out there, every body is worthy of love. It's worthy of pleasure. The bodies aren't the problem. Sometimes the people behind the bodies, they are the questionable bit. Are they all deserving of love and pleasure? Sometimes people have got to get their shit together before they really are, because, people like your ex who said horrible things to you. But I think you get me. Okay, so you might not believe it yet, but that doesn't make it not true. So allow yourself some time, allow yourself some patience, and allow yourself the right fucking partner, a kind partner. But please try to start seeing yourself through a kinder lens and not through the lens of that ex-partner who made you feel bad about yourself, because you deserve so much fucking more than that. Okay? Everyone who has sent me in questions today, you are all wonderful and beautiful and fucking sexy and deserving of intimacy and pleasure exactly as you are in this very moment. Friends, lovers, listeners, thank you for tuning in to today's Sunday morning spoon. And if there's one thing I hope you take away from all of these past episodes about body confidence, is just remembering that confidence in the bedroom is not about having the perfect body, because spoiler alert, perfection doesn't exist. And even if it did, it would be really fucking boring. Like, imagine if every person and every partner we ever had looked exactly the same. Like, actually take a second to imagine that. It would be literal hell, especially because sometimes the last thing I want is anything that reminds me of a previous terrible partner, let alone them looking exactly the same. It's giving AI. We'll probably be there soon, to be honest. But anyway, what matters is feeling good in your skin, feeling good in your body, letting go of the pressure to perform, remembering that your partners are way more interested in connecting with you than inspecting whether you have cellulite. And if they're doing that, bin them right off immediately. So let's all make a pact right now. No more dimming the lights like you're setting the mood for a seance just because you're feeling self-conscious. I don't mean you've got to leave the big light on, like none of us want that, but you know what I mean. It's not giving pitch black. No more apologizing for normal human things like stretch marks, tummy rolls, or whatever society has tried to convince us is a flaw. And no more assuming your partner is lying to you when they compliment you, because newsflash, they're not. And if this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend who might need to hear it, because so many of us are struggling with body image, and I just want to create a community where we can all support each other enough to get out of that mindset. And if you're feeling really generous, I would absolutely love it if you would drop a review, because nothing boosts my confidence quite like validation from both friends and strangers on the internet. But until next time, be kind to yourself, embrace your body, and remember, body confidence is not about looking a certain way. It's about owning who you are. So go forth and be the radiant, sexy fucking human that you already are. I will see you very soon for this season's episode of Ask Peach. So feel free to start sending over any questions whatsoever that you might have about anything sex or relationship related, and I will see you very soon. But for now, thanks for coming. Thank you for tuning in to Sex on the Peach today, and I hope that you enjoyed this week's episode. You can find and follow me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Sex on the Peach Cast, and you can also get in touch with me at sexonthepeachcast@gmail.com. Please do continue to like, share, subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to your podcasts, and I'll see you next week. Love, Peach.